My name is Glenn Cook, and I'm the founder CEO of EV Transports and SafeRydr, and we started the project about 5 years ago here in Lake Nona in conjunction with the University of Central Florida. And we started off with the UCF I-Corps program, which basically started with startups. And we had a fleet of Teslas that we've transitioned now into multimodal systems and consulting here in Lake Nona. And we work with the state, with our legislators, and we're also now working with the DOE. All right, today I'm going to be sitting here with Mr. Jake Guerra. He is with the EV semi fleet, and he has been working on this project for large vehicles for logistics. And basically what that means is we're looking at electrification, infrastructure, energy, as well as hydrogen fleet cell vehicles. And he started this program probably about, I'd say, 3 years ago when I was introduced to him by Dr. Max Hooper. And so I'm sitting here with Mr. Jake today, EV Semi.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. What you guys are doing in Lake Nona is just phenomenal. From the entrepreneur centers to finding solutions for this new age of alternative fuels and real world application.
So I noticed also, I was over at your house the other day, you actually have some other types of vehicles personally that you use as we're waiting for some of these larger fleet vehicles to come out. What do you have?
Yeah, so I'm trying to adopt in any way I can. So I have the Ford Lightning, and it is just phenomenal. Pulls any trailer like nothing's behind you. And then I have the Model X with the wing doors. And the cool part is I can charge both from home on off-peak billing time, and really charge both of them for around $20 each, or $20 total. Yeah.
Man, that's like 3 times less than filling up a tank with fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I want to thank you also for allowing me to drive around that Ford Lightning and work on my towing a little bit with the Arcimoto.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's been a real great experience to see the difference in towing with a Ford Model Y to a Tesla Model X and now the Ford Lightning. Way better towing capacity. And the infrastructure that we have around here for charging is getting better all the time. So what do you think about how we're doing the charging in here with superchargers?
Well, so I'm a big fan of what Tesla and Ford just did, how they partnered up. It really opens up the ability to take the F-150 Lightning on a road trip. Now you can charge at Tesla charging stations, and you're not just limited to CCS charging stations. But you still have those available too, if that's what you prefer.
Yeah, I noticed one of the drawbacks was infrastructure when I had to transition, like for the e-tron or the Mach-E over to a Tesla. I guess I was spoiled,
Yeah.
Utilizing the Model 3, the Model X, the Model Y. So what do you think about the CCS charging infrastructure and that transition that's happening right now?
Well, I think we all can agree that they've had a lot of difficulties over this last couple of years coming to market, with having to use your credit card at every station, and then you get to the next one, it's a different station. But I think the problems have been identified, and they're working towards a general solution to really fix all that. And so I think it's going to improve over the time.
So what I can see with the infrastructure right now in multimodal systems is there's going to be large equipment, there's going to be small equipment. Mm-hmm. I've had some experience with the auto cycle and writing legislation, but I'm also seeing how we don't have the infrastructure yet to larger scaled equipment like you've been dealing with. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so megawatt charging stations, right? They're huge. They're pushing in upwards of 750 kilowatt hour charge rates to the Tesla semi trucks with Pepsi. The good thing is they're proving out the infrastructure, they're proving out the trucks. So when they do scale nationwide, it's going to all work seamlessly, like Tesla does best. So they're starting on the West Coast, moving to the East Coast over here. I think within good time, we're going to see megawatt charging stations by Tesla along major routes, even as far as down to Miami. But for right now, they're going along I-10, and then they're going to hit the East Coast. So I think in good time, it's all going to be here.
So what do you think would accelerate the adoption for larger, heavy fleet vehicles, in your opinion?
Yeah, so kind of what EV semi fleet's doing right now. One of the big adoption factors is convincing an owner-operator who has a small fleet, say 5 trucks, to trade in some of their diesel trucks to get an electric semi-truck. And right now, there is just not a training program for them, nor are there dedicated freight lanes along electrified routes. So that's kind of what EV semi-fleet's doing. We have EVCDL, our training department, and then we have EV load board, which is the load board for heavy duty freight loads. So ideally in the near future, a CDL truck driver who owns his own company can now go to training specifically on electric or alternative fuel vehicles, understand how to charge, how to drive it properly, and then once he feels comfortable and he has an electric semi-truck, he can now go on EV load board and find routes that are already set up with ESG suppliers that value these trucks moving their freight. So day one, he'll be able to come in, the new CDL truck driver, get a truck, get training, have loads to pull, and be successful.
Well, okay, you said being able to go to work right away. So that's workforce.
Yes.
Yeah. So I noticed that you also ordered 50 Tesla semis. Yeah. Jake Guerra cannot operate 50 Tesla semis. So tell me, how do you develop that workforce and how do you transition a normal CDL fossil fuel diesel pusher into a large EV semi?
Well, yeah. So we ordered 50 Tesla semi trucks about 2 years ago, right before the ordering was shut down. So now you can't even order one. So fortunately, we have those locked in. And so once we start onboarding the Tesla semi trucks, we're going to work with owner operators and actually get them in their hands, and provide the training for them with the routes. And so at the end of the day, it's just going to be a seamless transition for these guys. But we're also, we want to put some trucks up in Newark. We want to put some trucks in Jacksonville. We want to put some trucks in Miami and kind of spread them out evenly so that we can do these over-the-road routes with electric semi-trucks rather than just port freight movements or small little hops. We want to be able to go nationwide with these, with the Tesla semi fleet.
Well, I noticed that you were talking about the transition here from that fossil fuel CDL driver. And I know whenever I was running bus fleets, we had to have a special certification for that CDL. Mm-hmm. Is there going to be a special type of certification for EV semi-fleet that you're working on?
I sure hope so, because right now, if you want to drive an electric semi-truck, you have to go get certified in either a manual diesel truck or an automatic diesel truck. So you go to training for weeks, if not months, to get your CDL license, but all you're training on is diesel semi-trucks. And so day one, when you go to drive an electric semi-truck, you don't understand regen braking, you don't understand how to charge, where to charge, what your fuel economy means, and it's just a whole nother vehicle. And so hopefully in the near future, the DOT recognizes that an alternative fuel license for CDL truck drivers is necessary, and hopefully EVCDL.com is the platform to just really spread it across to all the small schools across the nation that teach this type of trade.
So what would you say would be a pain point or a good support structure for EV semi as far as, because they're pieces of machinery, they're going to break. Mm-hmm. What would you see or what would you recommend to our educators out there or our DOT, our DOE to train what you would need to support this industry?
Yeah, I think they need to start with the OEMs, Tesla, Nikola, Volvo, Freightliner, and really start these training programs now so that once these trucks are on the road nationwide, once one of them goes down for some reason, you have the OEMs able to service the trucks nationwide at their different service hubs. And so to start off, I think they need to really start working with the OEMs. That's the big factor.
So I noticed one more thing that I've noticed out there in the industry, their DOE is starting to really push like solar panels and battery backups and hydrogen fuel cell type things, because there's not going to be, starting off, a charging area or a fuel cell station like there are diesel stations like Flying J in the future. What do you see that would help you out?
Well, I personally don't see the megawatt chargers and the alternative fuel charging stations at Flying J Ranch or at the Flying J diesel centers. I think those have a defined niche market, the diesel trucks. I think they're going to be off the highways in isolated areas where the power and the grid is sustainable in those regions, so that the truckers can come in, come out, and not get cluttered up by the other diesel trucks. It's going to be a seamless in and out, and Yeah, I think that's really where it's going to fall.
I noticed with the IRO bill that came out the last couple of years that there was a bill that came out for, it's called NEVI. And through that, there was corridors specified that they could put charging infrastructure or alternative fuel cell recharge.
Yeah.
Are you still waiting on that?
Yeah, we are, especially here in Florida. You know, Florida does not have any, or they don't have much assistance with this green energy push. And hopefully our governor sees that in the near future as something that needs to happen. And because without that, it's really difficult to make this transition that's needed so badly across our state without state funding and the support.
Well, I'm going to ask you another thing here. Just over the last few years, we worked a little bit on this thing called autonomy, which basically means that, you know, you really don't either have a driver or you have a safety operator that could either be, in your situation, in charge of platooning.
Sure.
So you have your front driver being in charge of other vehicles behind it, but autonomy, what's your feeling on autonomy and Tesla Semi specifically?
Well, Tesla technology, their FSD system learns. So as you do the same route over and over again, I think it's going to learn the type of freight you're moving back and forth over and over again. And I think it's going to adapt better than what LiDAR would be able to adapt to. And so whether it's in the near future or in the long future, I think eventually we will have full self-driving semi-trucks moving dedicated freight.
So I noticed you just got back from California, and there was a special event that they had out there for heavy fleet vehicles. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was nice to see Volvo Freightliner. You had the E-Cascadia, the Nikola Tre BEV, and then you also had the Nikola hydrogen fuel cell truck. I've driven all of them, and I was very amazed by the comfort level and the power that I felt in the hydrogen. And up until then, I wasn't too sure about if hydrogen was going to be, you know, the next big thing. But after driving that truck, it is very apparent that hydrogen-powered Class 8 semi-trucks will be a contender in the near future, especially as Nikola and other companies scale their production and are able to provide trucks nationwide.
I tell you what, I want to say again that I want to thank you for loaning me your Ford Lightning and to be able to tow myself and get that experience towing the Arcimoto Autocycle the other and charge as we went down the road. But there was at one point you handed me this set of glasses you had, and we got a chance to video ourselves going down the road towing behind your Ford Lightning. And then you sent me a video the other day. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what we were doing, we were charging while in motion with the F-150 Lightning, which was incredible because that opens up so many options for different types of operations. You know, if you have to charge a car behind you on the trailer or whatever it is, you can do it.
And then you sent me a video. What did you send me a video of with your glasses from California?
Oh, yeah. So I laid eyes on the Tesla semi-truck.
Coming down the regular road.
Yep. Yeah, it was out
in the wild.
Out near San Jose, pulling a flatbed. And it looked like they were doing some testing on it, like they're doing out there through Pepsi, Frito-Lay.
We don't get many of those out here in Florida.
No. Hopefully one day soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said a little bit about Pepsi, Frito-Lay. I noticed they're going to be opening up a new Frito-Lay distributorship off of John Young.
Okay.
Think we will see one over there?
I think we will. We've already seen a CNG truck, a Class 8 truck out there. And so it's very apparent that that Pepsi is moving towards that, not only just in California, but nationwide. So I think they're going to be a leader out here, and not before long, I think we will see some Tesla semi-trucks from Pepsi out here.
So I know also that infrastructure is a big thing for everything that's electrified or hydrogen fuel cell. If you had to pick some good locations for these types of charging infrastructure, hydrogen fuel cell locations, what would be some strategic locations that Jake would like to see from FDOT?
Yeah, so first off, major corridors. Right here in Central Florida, we have the Orlando International Airport. I think right here is a great starting point. It's Central Florida. Goa has a lot of land around here, and they can really make a big impact by letting companies like these sustainable energy companies come in and test out their infrastructure test out their trucks, everything they have to start moving the transportation side, to a greener future.
Well, I'll tell you what, you said testing, and that's one of the things I get a chance to do here in Lake Nona with Tavistock. What do you think about the location of Lake Nona and moving out to Space, Florida? They're going to be building Sunbridge here pretty soon on the 528 corridor.
Yeah.
What do you think about moving freight along those areas?
I like it. It's centralized. So whether you're going north or south, through Florida, this is right in the middle. It's the perfect charging hub in the middle to get out of Florida and also get to Miami and back. So yeah, I think Central Florida is just an ideal spot for future infrastructure early on.
One more thing, we'll try to wrap this up. I noticed that we have the Brightline train has come in. We're also going to be working on flying cars here in the near future, the drones. How do you think semi and flying cars or drones could all work together in this multimodal system?
I think a lot of these new forms of mobility are going to be powered by hydrogen as well as battery. And so the more high-level chargers and high-level infrastructure we get here, the better. It's going to be a great training platform, a great testing platform, and it's going to be nice. We're going to be able to bring people in from all over the nation to come see what we're doing here.
That's a nice thing about our airport. We get 60 million people a year coming through the Orlando International Airport.
They're ready.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And we got a great testing place for people to come to see our living lab down here. Hopefully, you're going to have your own hub down here.
Very soon.
Jake, I want to thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you as well.
Guys, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have a good day.